Hello, and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan, and I thought we'd do today a stream all about wildcards. I have played my wildcard already in Gameweek 31. You will see on screen already what I've come up with so far. And basically, I just want to keep this stream exclusively to talking about wildcard stuff. Just wildcard stuff. So nothing about last game week, nothing about, future game weeks. Well, unless we're talking about it within the context of the wild card. And just going to talk about some of the players I want and how I can sort of build a wild card with the budget that I've got. I will be answering questions and stuff, but I won't keep this stream too long because I do want this to have rewatchability. I do want to make sure that this also stands alone as a video as well, so people can watch it back throughout the week if they want to see my kind of early thoughts on some wild cards and talking about a couple of players. But hopefully you're all doing well. You guys watching live, please do leave a like on the video if you can. Please do subscribe if you're new around here for whatever reason. And let's talk about some wildcard stuff, I guess. So let's start off, I suppose, by talking about the team that I've got in front of me here. So I will make one change. The only reason I haven't done this change yet is because I've got I'll lose a lot of value if I take out Martinez. So if I make a last minute decision to keep Martinez, then that's obviously not good. So I'll have to repay extra money to get him back in. So let's lay it out like that. That's my current thoughts on wildcard. It's definitely not firm. There's definitely scope to change some bits and bobs here. But this is how we're lining up. So Mendy is going to be the main goalkeeper. I've got 3.9 million goalkeeper as a backup there because I'm not going to be switching goalkeepers. It's just going to be Mendy every single game week. He plays every game for the rest of the season. No problem at all. We've got defence of Veltman. Nice cheap option there. And, it's an okay option just because Brighton they are continuing to perform well defensively, or relatively well at least. And if you look through these fixtures, there are a couple ones that we might be interested in. You've got Sheffield United away there, could be interesting. Wolves away, maybe a couple of others, but mainly he's there just as a cheap backup. To be honest, we've got Christensen. Obviously, and I'm a little bit worried about this one, to be honest. I'm a little bit worried about it, mostly because is he going to be first choice? Well, I mean, whilst Thiago Silva's out, obviously he got a red card in game week 30, so he's going to be out. Christensen will be the man to come in to replace him, definitely. But after that, I'm not sure, because I feel like Christensen is kind of a central-ish type centre-back, a tall, not a very quick, a good aerial presence kind of thing. So, not very mobile, if you like. So, for that reason, if Thiago Silva was to come back in, maybe Christensen is the man to be sacrificed there. But on the other hand, Christensen, he's kind of been Chelsea's best defender. I think he's played so well over the last sort of month, maybe a little bit more than a month. He's played so well. I think he's been their best defender, if I'm completely honest, in terms of actual football, not necessarily in fantasy points. Although he has picked up some fantasy points. If I go on info, you can have a look here. He's picked up a few bonus points in recent game weeks. Here we are. You can see, 3 bonus points, 2 bonus points, 1 bonus points there, which is quite nice. So he's had a couple of okay scores. He's got 9 score, 8, 6, 7, all in a row there before, obviously, the absolute disaster of West Brom. Obviously, I'm doubled up on Chelsea defence here. I do want to kind of, I guess, try and instill you with a bit of confidence, because I know a lot of people who are now wildcarding, having seen that West Brom fixture, think, okay, Chelsea have conceded 5 goals. Maybe Chelsea is going downhill from here. I don't know if that's true at all. In fact, I really don't think that was true. There's many factors contributing to that loss. Mainly, Thiago Silva getting sent off nice and early in that game. That's a huge, huge factor. And it kind of threw everything into, disbalance. It kind of was a situation where, because of the international break, Chelsea are rotating a lot of players. They weren't really playing their full-strength team at all there, really. I don't think even Thiago Silva was fully ready for that game, to be honest. So it was never going to, as soon as that red card came in, it was never going to be straightforward. Maybe you think, okay, maybe it could have been a bit more straightforward, but it wasn't. I don't think that result is a real reflection on where Chelsea are at. I think that's a real freak result. And honestly, I hope it does put people off, because that means I've got these Chelsea defenders. Chelsea have still got this epic run of fixtures. Let me show you the run of fixtures that they've got. It's really nice. Next 4 games: Crystal Palace, Brighton, West Ham and Fulham. Really nice run of 4 fixtures there. And if this puts people off, then good, because I'll have the Chelsea defenders, I'll have double Chelsea defence, and a lot of other people won't go for it, which is good. So kind of taking advantage a little bit there. Then we'll move on to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is just putting out some magnificent numbers. He's been really, really creative. Again, he's had another really nice score, another 3 bonus points here in game week 30. So you can see he's in very good form. If Liverpool could keep a couple more clean sheets, and they are keeping a few clean sheets here, which is quite nice over recent game weeks, so their defence is improving. Then they've got this fixture run, Villa, Leeds, Newcastle, Manchester United, not so great, but Southampton, West Brom, Burnley, Crystal Palace, all the way for the rest of the season. You can put in a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold for the rest of the season, and you're pretty much good to go there. I think Liverpool are going to be pushing to reach that those top four positions. They've still got a very good chance of making it, so why not? Why not? So he's going to be a really interesting, a differential in a way, because not a lot of people will be going for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Obviously, he's quite expensive. His team selected by his ownership is pretty low, which is quite nice. Quite a nice differential there, so do like that. Cody, I'm not 100% sure about, but the fixtures are amazing. I'm a little bit worried about Wolves' defence. I know they've not kept, keeping a huge amount of clean sheets, but they're not conceding a huge amount of goals either. But it's difficult. The fixtures are really good, though, and the fixtures that they have had recently have not been great. But they've got Fulham, Sheffield United, Burnley, West Brom all in a row there, which is really nice. Brighton after that as well. So that's a really nice run of 5 fixtures. It's really nice. So with defenders, you do typically pick, you play the fixtures, don't you, with defenders a lot of the time, and this would be playing the fixtures a lot. Hopefully Wolves can turn it around a little bit. The good thing is that because Wolves aren't scoring many goals, if we're talking about 0-0s or 1-0s to Wolves, it's going to be the defenders picking up bonus points as well, which is quite nice. And then we'll finish off with Nat Phillips. We've talked about the fixtures Liverpool have already, but 4 million, it looks like he's going to be playing, not necessarily every game, but he's playing a lot of football. Is he going to be the first choice at Liverpool? Yeah, probably he is going to be, one of the 2 centre-backs playing for Liverpool week in, week out, but not necessarily every single game week. Particularly if you look over the last fixtures, Chelsea he missed out on. Maybe that's because it's a slightly tougher game against Chelsea, but when we look at the fixtures going forward, they're pretty good fixtures. He's been playing pretty well. 4 million for a Liverpool defender. You can't really go wrong there. So, shall we move on into the midfield? Let's move on to the midfield. So, we've got De Bruyne. Just mostly because I really like the game week 31 fixture against Leeds. I think after that, it's okay to remove De Bruyne. I just feel like going all in on Man City right now is just kind of the wrong move completely. A few people, by the way, have mentioned, I could go for Forster as my backup goalkeeper. Yeah, I could, but it's an extra 0.1 million for a goalkeeper I'm literally never going to play. Literally never going to play him. But yes, anyway, back to Man City. So Man City it's a difficult situation because they are prioritising the Champions League. They've almost won the Premier League. As soon as they've won the Premier League, it's going to be all in on the Champions League. That's all they're going to care about is the Champions League and winning that. So there's going to be heavy rotation for the rest of the season. So we can talk about Cancelo, Stones. Diaz, I kind of understand why you might go for Diaz because he is far more nailed on. But there's going to be a huge amount of rotation. And the Premier League is not going to be a priority competition for Manchester City. It's just going to be an absolute rotation nightmare. And I would rather not get caught up in it because Man City players are very expensive. I don't want to have all these expensive rotating players. De Bruyne, hopefully he's going to play for the next couple of games whilst Man City try and secure the Premier League. But after that, I don't think it's essential. I don't think you need to worry too much about filling your team with Man City players, particularly because in game week 32, is it 32 or 33? Actually, I think it's 33, if I'm honest. Game week 33, there it is, yeah. Man City do have a blank, so that is going to cause you problems. And with Spurs doubling up in game week 32 and then playing Sheffield United in game week 34, either side of this blank, it's kind of Spurs are the team we really would rather be slightly more invested in. And the last thing we want to do is find ourselves in a situation in game week 33 where we've got 3 Spurs players, 3 City players. Oh, wow. These are expensive players. We're going to have to play like 6 players and they're all going to be absolute bench fodder, not very good players. maybe people will start panicking, taking -4s and -8s in game week 33 because they realise, oh my god, I've got all of these Man City and Spurs players and I can't field a full 11, or at least I'm not full 11 that I want to field. So that's a real thing you need to take into consideration as well. Lingard is just a legend. We'll keep him in. West Ham's fixtures are pretty good. They don't improve until the end of the season big time, but you can kind of see here. Basically, from game week 32, it does look really, really nice other than that Chelsea game. You know, all of these fixtures are nice. In terms of West Ham defenders, a few guys are probably thinking about West Ham defenders. With the news that Declan Rice is going to be out for, a minimum of a month, kind of makes me think, okay, maybe West Ham are going to concede a few more goals. And if you look at their recent games, they have conceded a few goals recently. 3 goals they conceded against Arsenal last game week, which is just, how can you concede that many goals against Arsenal? It's quite crazy. That comes from an Arsenal fan. But yes, Lingard is playing really well, though. Bruno Fernandes, I just want to have because he's Bruno Fernandes. There's a couple of games where I'll probably captain him as well. Let's look at his fixtures very, very briefly. Hang on, let me go on I'm losing the plot here. Right, fixtures. There's a few fixtures that you would potentially want to captain him. So you've got that Leeds game. You could possibly think about captaining him in that Burnley game as well. Maybe Wolves in the last game of the season. There's a couple of nice fixtures there that you might want to captain him. But overall, he's just Bruno Fernandes, isn't he? And there'll be a few penalties in this run. There'll be a few assists. There'll be maybe a couple of goals from open play. You never know. So yeah, that's all good. And then obviously we've got Son here for the double game week in game week 32. Top 2 players to get from Spurs in game week 32 for the double, Son and Kane. I don't think anyone's arguing there. Son is just coming back from injury, so he didn't play the full 90 minutes. Only played half a game in game week 30, but I do think he'll be back. He'll be back and firing from next game week, which will be nice. And then we've got Jota to finish off the midfield, who I don't think anyone's got any questions about that. It's, those of you on a wild card, even if you're not on a wild card, what a player. What a player. Since he's come to Liverpool, it's just been insane. It's a real shame that he was out injured for so long in this season, because honestly, he could be being considered in the same class as Mane and Salah at this point. He's been certainly playing, keeping up with them in terms of how well he's been playing. And for 6.8 million, he's just like basically a bargain Salah. So easy decision there, and you can fill your rest of your team with not loads of premiums. Vidra is kind of a bench option. I don't actually know if I'd ever play Vidra. So to be honest, I probably will end up downgrading Vidra to a 4.2, 4.3 million forward, someone really nice and cheap. But I mean, you can have a look at it if you like. He is playing recently. He got a goal in game week 30. Just gone. Got an assist the game week before. He got a goal, a few weeks ago as well. So he is getting the odd contribution, which is pretty good. So fair play to him there. And he's only 4.8 million, which is super, super cheap. So in terms of decent bench cover, you could do a lot worse. Iheanacho's just been crazy, hasn't he? It's just been crazy. Obviously, the game against Man City was never going to go well. I do think Iheanacho is going to be remaining in the team. I don't see why he would be removed, because the thing is, who's going to get replaced? Because this formation that Leicester are playing with 2 forwards, Vardy and Iheanacho up front, it is working. And you might look at that Man City game and think, oh, maybe it didn't work. Man City are a different beast. They really are a completely different beast. Iheanacho is going to stay in this team, I believe, playing up front with Vardy. Perez, who's been playing perhaps behind the two, is going to be replaced with Maddison, I imagine. I just don't think you can drop Iheanacho out of this team when it is going really well for Leicester, to be honest. And then we'll finish off with Kane. And I don't think anyone's got any disagreements about Harry Kane whatsoever. Harry Kane is an absolute must-have if you're on a wild card. You got to do it. If you don't have Kane, then go for it. So yeah, lots of people still saying get Forster. Do I need to? Do I really need to? I mean, let's look at Southampton. And I know they do have this double game week. I'm well aware. Let's go 4.1 million rather than typing it in. It's 0.1 million for a player I'm never gonna play ever. We can look at his fixtures, and it's Crystal Palace at home. The thing is, Southampton concede so many goals. Even if Southampton do have a double game week, we're probably still looking at Southampton scoring so many goals that just by getting a clean sheet on your other goalkeeper, they'll probably do better anyway. When's the double game week going to happen? It could happen in game week 35, and then it's a double game week with Liverpool and Crystal Palace. Do you really think that there's going to be 2 clean sheets there? Do you even think there's going to be 1 clean sheet there? I would not be betting on any clean sheets from Southampton, to be honest. So it would be a waste of money. I would rather play Mendy. I would genuinely rather play Mendy in 1 fixture than Forster over 2 fixtures. So I'll just keep Mendy. I just feel like that's the way to go. Unless by some miracle fixtures are announced and it looks bad. So if it is in game week 35, for example, Chelsea play Man City. But even so, Man City could have the league wrapped up by then. Chelsea would be going full throttle. I don't know. Obviously, guys, if you want to do something like that, but it seems like a bit of a silly 0.1 million to spend on a player I'm literally never going to use. What happens if I go a couple of weeks and suddenly I really want to make a transfer, but I'm 0.1 million short of making that transfer? I'm in trouble. I'm in big trouble, where I could have easily avoided this by just going for a 3.9 goalkeeper. I just don't feel like I would ever play Forster. I really don't. And who's to say he stays in the side anyway? Yeah, it could easily happen where he's switched back out if things keep going pretty badly. I mean, he didn't play against Man City there. Before game week 26, he really wasn't playing at all, other than that one game. So, I think maybe people have a slightly too high expectations of Forster. Would you really play Forster above Mendy ever? Probably not. I seriously would back Chelsea against Man City. I back Chelsea against Liverpool. I'd back them rather than going for a Southampton defender. Look how many goals they concede. It's ridiculous that they concede so many goals. Forster could easily go into minus points in any given game week. So there you go. That's the situation I'm in. So a few people saying, will I make a wildcard template video? Yeah, I'll make a proper video at some point, but this is just kind of wanting to talk about early thoughts and talk about things with you. G Rich says, if you don't put him in, they'll definitely recall Kepa at least once. Yeah, possibly. Marco Simnov says it's 0.1 for a second goalkeeper with a double. It's self-explanatory. I don't know if it is self-explanatory, to be honest. I don't know if it is. Do you really rate the Southampton defence that much? Do you really rate it? A few people saying about Salah. Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely consider bringing in Salah. But the question is, who do I take out for Salah? Maybe I take out Bruno Fernandes and put in Salah. But Jota does cover it to a degree. The thing is, Salah has 1 game week, and this happens every time, by the way, guys. Salah will have 1 good game week, and the hype will just go absolutely crazy. But if we look at this realistically, and look at the points that he's scoring, is this the signs of an essential player? 8 points was a good game week. Before that, he hadn't scored in the Premier League in 5 games. Just because he scores once in 1 game, we don't need to... I'm not saying he's a bad pick. Obviously, he's a good pick. But he's not essential. I really, really struggle to believe that he's essential. Especially when you go for a player like Jota, who over the same period... Look at this. Over the same period, last 2 games he's got 3 goals. He's got more goals in the last 2 games than Salah has got in the last 7 games or something like that. He's back, baby. And, look at him before his injury. Scoring pretty much every game. He's fabulous. And I don't think I want the double up in attack. I think I'd genuinely rather have Jota, even if they were the same price. And if Jota was the same price as Salah, you guys would be saying, oh yeah, Jota is a big premium player. You've got to have him in your team. But 6.7 million, absolute bargain. It means I can have Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's a player I really want, who I also believe will score similarly to Salah. Nat Phillips, who's just a 4 million for Nat Phillips. Crazy. Yeah, people saying, yeah, Salah had a bad spell, but Liverpool are back. How many times have we said that? We said, let me show you the times that we said this exact same thing. Where we said, Salah's back. It's time to go back in on Salah. So, Here it is, this West Ham game, 15 points. He scored 2 goals. Everyone bought Salah. Everyone captained Salah. People were triple captaining Salah in Gameweek 22 against Brighton. He blanks. Couple of goals here, but he wasn't playing particularly amazingly. You know, obviously he's a sure bet, and even when he's not playing amazingly, that is amazing compared to the average player. We know that. But again, look, there was this point here. Crystal Palace, he scored twice. Everyone rushed to bring him in. You've got to bring in Salah. He's back, baby. He's gonna go. He's gonna absolutely smash it. Everyone was bringing him in. Blank, 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 blank. You can't judge it all on one game. I'm not saying Salah's played badly, but has he been playing well enough to justify 12.4 million? When you can get Jota for 6.7 million. I'm really not trying to hate on him. It's really is a price thing. If Salah is 10 million, I go for him. Of course I go for him, because that would be a much better price for him. So I don't think he's essential. If you guys want to have, Mohammed bin Khaled just said, look, just because he doesn't fit into your team, it does not make him a bad option. Absolutely agree. I completely agree with that. I'm never saying to you guys, don't buy Salah. I'm really not saying don't buy Salah. I'm saying, for me, he's not worth it. There's players that I would rather have. A lot of players I'd rather have. It's up to you. You could absolutely go for Salah, but I just don't think that's necessarily true. So Jota 6.8 million. Oh well, he's gone up. He's gone up since I put him in the team, which is good. But anyway, the real priority, I guess, is that you have your Spurs players. That's kind of tempting. A few people asked about Christensen over Rudiger. It's literally just because Christensen has been playing better. It really is. He's just been the better player, and I kind of hope that Thomas Tuchel is going to look at this Chelsea team and he's going to say, well, who's been our best defender? We need to bounce back from that battering from West Brom. Who's been our best defender? I think Christensen's been the best one. But yeah, guys, go for Salah if you fancy it. But he doesn't. Yeah, he's not quite right for what I want to do here. Kasim Chima says, by your Salah logic, De Bruyne is totally not worth it, and I kind of agree with you there. I'm not going to be keeping De Bruyne in long term. I think he's a slight rotation risk. I think Man City are going to take their foot off the gas in the Premier League as soon as they win it. So I agree with you. De Bruyne is kind of a couple of weeks punt, really. Johnny Rock says, what do you think happens with Rudiger? I do think he does come back into the team as well. I do. It's just a case of when Thiago Silva's back, does Thiago Silva play? Does he play over Christensen? Didn't have a great start, did he? I'm not 100% sure. Christensen has just been that best defender, and I kind of hope that he would play. He would play just because he's good. Someone said, Mo Salah's saying he's proud to announce that Ferguson is coming back into my team. That's awesome. Yeah, he is back on the radar. He's going to probably have to play a couple of games in the under-23s. He's probably going to have to get his fitness back up. I can't see him coming in and being a starter straight away, but it is very exciting times to have Ferguson back on the radar, isn't it? Ethan says, have you not seen what's happened with Rudiger and Tuchel? Yeah, there was a bit of an argument, a bust up at the training ground today, but it does seem like that has been cleared up. I do think that I don't think that's going to affect things long term, but yeah, I just prefer Christensen as a player. If I'm the Chelsea manager, I feel like I play Christensen because he's been the best defender at Chelsea, you know. But there you go. There is some other ideas that I've sort of flirted with. So obviously, Fernandes is playing against Spurs next in Gameweek 31, which is not an ideal fixture. So there is this super risky option. God, you guys are not going to like this, but let's just entertain the idea. Let's just entertain the idea. We could put Aubameyang in for a 1 week punt. It's against Sheffield United. 1 week only. Aubameyang comes in. Maybe 2 game weeks. Fulham are sort of slipping a little bit recently, to be fair. and then we swap him. We swap him for Bruno Fernandes, where Bruno Fernandes plays Burnley and then Leeds, which could be pretty nice. Or you could swap Kevin De Bruyne. You could swap Kevin De Bruyne in game week 33 maybe for Bruno Fernandes. Something like that. That might work pretty well as well. It's an idea. I'm not going to tell you that Aubameyang's been in amazing form. It is really about targeting the fixtures and going for something a little bit different. A lot of what I'm trying to do here is trying to be a bit different, and that's why the team that you see in front of you right now is not going to be, I'll make a wildcard draft video this week. You're not going to see the same players because these players are risky for myself. I accept the risk. I take on the risk. I don't want to suggest these super risky things to you. I really want to improve my rank, and the only way I'm going to do that is by taking chances. And generally speaking, it's been going pretty well. Since I started taking more chances, it's been going a little bit better. A few people mentioned Lacazette. The problem is with Lacazette, and this is the issue when you read the score lines, you look at the FPL points rather than deep dive and see what's going on. If we look at Lacazette, he scored 3 goals over the past however many game weeks. So I guess in fairly recent game weeks, he scored 3 goals. 2 of those goals were penalties. Take away penalties, this is a completely different situation, right? And we will take away penalties. The only reason he was on penalties on those 2 occasions was because coincidentally, Aubameyang wasn't on the pitch at the time. Aubameyang is the penalty taker for Arsenal, and if Aubameyang's not on the pitch, then it goes to Lacazette. But Lacazette is not. He kind of got a bit lucky where the 2 penalties that Arsenal have had given to him over the last however many game weeks have been coincidentally when either Aubameyang's been subbed off. There was that game where Aubameyang turned up late to the game and was dropped last minute from the Arsenal squad, so Lacazette was playing and Aubameyang wasn't, so Lacazette took the penalty. So when you look at it like that, and you kind of got to look at this in terms of, right, if you take away the 2 penalties, then really Lacazette's got one goal, 1 assist in the past, how many game weeks? Like 10 game weeks, he's got 1 goal, 1 assist. Not even completely nailed on. I mean, you'd say that he's going to be a fairly regular starter. There's no doubt about that. But he's not completely nailed on either. So that's why I would not be considering Lacazette personally. But yeah, Aubameyang would be super risky. I completely understand that, and honestly, I would have to seriously psych myself up to do it because it would be taking such a punt. It really would be taking such a punt, indeed. Yeah. So yeah, this is a difficult one. But yeah, Lacazette is, you could go for him. I don't know. His underlying Lacazette's underlying stats aren't particularly good either, to be honest. I'm not going to tell you not to get him, but that's why I don't fancy him. You can obviously do things your own way. A few people have mentioned Neto in this stream as well. I just don't really rate the Wolves' attack at all, really. With when we look at fixtures, we look at defenders for their fixtures mostly, and we look at attackers mostly for their form. Wolves have not really shown very good attacking form, so I'm not really that interested in Neto. Yes, good fixtures, but fixtures are for defenders. Form is for attackers, primarily. But yes, that's kind of could work. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna put Lacazette there. I'm not gonna put him in. There's not really. I mean, Che Adams. I thought about, but he got dropped yesterday. Chris Wood is an okay shout to put in. I mean, Antonio is probably the striker I want the most, who isn't called Harry Kane. However, I think I can afford to wait at least 1 game week, maybe bring him in from game week 34, because from 34 to 38, that's just looking beautiful for West Ham. They're going to have a lot to play for. They're scoring goals. That's going to be nice. So yeah, I'd possibly double up on the West Ham attack from around them. Maybe Iheanacho makes way. I'll have to find some money elsewhere. Probably be around a De Bruyne downgrade or something like that. Let's take Aubameyang out and put Bruno before you guys absolutely obliterate me. But yeah, someone says, would you consider Leicester defence? Yeah, definitely, I would. But they're quite expensive, aren't they? Let's go to Leicester. They're quite expensive. So, I mean, Fofana's not nailed. Evans, Castan. Someone's not even fit. Pereira is stupidly expensive as well. Would you say that Fofana is nailed? I feel like he isn't, but I could be wrong there. He's played the last 3 games, but maybe that's injuries. Had Soyuncu being out, maybe had a little bit to do with that. What are the exact games that Soyuncu's missed? Oh, just last one. In game week 30. I was wondering if he missed one before. Oh, well, maybe Fofana is coming back into the team, because that's the only one you can really look at because of the pricing. Because the others are too expensive. So an option would be to go that and then Fofana in, maybe. Because I do like the look of these fixtures as well. West Brom, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Newcastle all in a row. That's pretty nice, right? Lots to play for Leicester as well, so they'll be all about it. So yeah, that's definitely an option. 100%. Christensen to Rudiger is definitely an option. You can downgrade Vidra. Neto, I mean, again, the thing with you can pretty much say about any midfielder, who do you drop? You definitely don't drop Son because of the double game week in 32. You definitely don't drop Jota because he's a must buy right now. We can't ignore Jota at all. He's got to come in. The fixtures that the Liverpool have got coming up, the form that he's showing, he's just he is class. He really is class. Lingard, I don't really want to drop because West Ham have this amazing run of fixtures, particularly after the next couple of game weeks, and he's been in amazing form as well. Then we're sort of talking about our last 2 positions, Bruno Fernandes and De Bruyne. De Bruyne is a kind of a couple of weeks punt. He's not a long-term option, I don't think. But I'd rather rotate the premium and transfer in and out some premium players. Bruno Fernandes, you probably are going to want him, but he could be swapped for an Aubameyang, for example, or a Salah if you fancy Salah. There's options there. And up front, Harry Kane, absolute must. Who do you pair Harry Kane up with? Iheanacho seems like a good bet in the short term, like I was just saying about Leicester's fixtures. West Brom, Palace, Southampton, Newcastle. Beautiful, beautiful. And we think Iheanacho should play all of those games as well. I do think he's going to start. And then, we maybe swap to Antonio so after Iheanacho's had this good run of games, we switch to Antonio to finish off the season, which could be really nice. Really nice little transition there. Lingard to Emil Smith-Rowe and Vidra to Antonio. Yeah, that's a genuine option. A genuine option. Could even, yeah, I mean, I'd definitely consider doing that. It's a good little suggestion there, to be honest. A few people were saying Aguero. People have been tweeting at me about Aguero as well. I don't know about Aguero. It's just, if we're talking about Man City being a bit of a rotation problematic team already, Aguero is definitely going to be he's going to be rotated. Although it could be exciting to go for Aguero in the final game week of the season, his final game for Man City. Who are they playing? Everton. That's a good fixture as well. Who's Spurs playing in game week 38? Leicester. So you could potentially do like Harry Kane to Aguero in game week 38, captain him for the almighty finish to the season. That is definitely something I consider. But Aguero in now, not sure. It's just too much rotation. It's just when you're paying that much money, I don't know. People suggesting holding. Do you trust Arsenal's defence right now? I guess the fixtures are good. User 158 says Mane punts. Yeah, you could do. Why not? who you think you'll bring in if you sell KDB later. Well, there's some options. What I might end up honestly doing is just downgrading De Bruyne for someone slightly cheaper, and from there, how much do you have in the back? I've got 0.2 currently, and then upgrade somewhere else. You know, get another premium striker in or something. Do something like that. But yeah, there's obviously loads of options. It's really exciting. It's exciting to be on a wild card. Like I said right at the beginning of the stream, of the video, depending on when you're watching it. This is very much early thoughts. Very much early thoughts. I've not properly crunched the numbers yet. I say crunch the numbers. I do want to have a look at some of some underlying stats and watch some clips and try and figure out the best possible wild card that I can do whilst taking calculated risks as well. But yeah, a few people asking when I'm wildcarding. Is this my wildcard? Yeah, guys, I'm literally on a wildcard right now. The wildcard button has already been activated. Where does it say? Yeah, free transfers up the top, unlimited, active tip, wildcard. We're on the wildcard, guys. We're on it. But guys, I think I'm going to leave the stream there. I do appreciate those of you who have joined me live today. I wasn't really expecting too many people here, to be honest, but because it's just a bit of a random stream and a random time of day. Don't usually stream at this time, but I thought I would share with you kind of where I'm thinking a little bit on my wildcard at the moment. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense to some of you. I'm sure some of you have some other ideas. Love to hear, guys. If you're watching this as a video, please do leave a comment and tell me what you think. Have I missed anything? Point me towards a direction I might not have seen. I know there's definitely plenty of room to play here still. This is not final at all. We're definitely going to have some fun with it throughout the week. That's for sure. We'll do a deadline stream before the Gameweek 31 deadline, and we'll be making changes on that deadline stream, I imagine, as well. So we've got a week of wildcard fun ahead of us. There's going to be loads of videos on the wildcard. But yeah, please like the video before you do leave. That'll be really, really very much appreciated. Please do subscribe if you're new around here. But aside from that, guys, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. See you later, mates. Bye-bye.